Yes, a beautiful plant sapling there. I also welcome the distinguished dignitaries who have so graciously agreed to be a part of the discussion forum today. Replanet is an initiative of the Times of India in association with Coca-Cola India. The objective of this campaign is to delve into different aspects of circularity across several economic sectors, focusing on how we have been dealing with our waste at different stages and the kind of policy that might be needed to fill the gaps while moving from a linear to a circular economy. This initiative also aims to provide a well-integrated picture of current resource economics across multiple value chains by focusing on specific industries or materials and gauging the potential and status of implementing circular economic principles. The campaign got launched earlier this year with a series of specially curated articles in the Times of India focusing on various sectors where different aspects of circularity were highlighted. As the campaign moves to the next phase, high-level state-wise discussions are being organized with stakeholders to discuss and deliberate on how an effective and implementable policy action can be taken and the same is adopted at various levels. I now request Mr. Robin David to please present the welcome address.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, a very warm welcome to all of you. A very warm welcome to KT Ramarao Garu also. I know he has a busy schedule, but he is interested in this subject, so I'm happy that he's here. A warm welcome to Jayesh Ranjan Garu, to Shidana Kishore, Ms. Madhulika Chaudhary, and Ms. Krishna Ramesh. Thank you for joining us for this panel. I think it is important to stay here that we are meeting in this, we've gathered here today at a time when the United Nations Climate Change Conference has just ended. And I feel that nothing much came out of it, except perhaps a little money for poorer countries. We are also sitting here today when there is a war going on in Ukraine and energy prices around the world have skyrocketed. When energy prices skyrocket, you have inflation. When you have inflation, economies are hurting. And when economies are hurting, I realize very few people talk about climate change. But at the same time, in the last 2 years, we've had severe rains damaging our crops. We've had very bad floods hurting our cities. We've had some of the most polluted cities in India hurting people's health. And we've had fires around the world. So I think whether you like it or not, we have to start talking about climate change. And that is, in fact, one of the figures that I saw online was Niti Aayog figures was that India's GDP hurts, about 20% of its GDP is hurt because of climate change. So we cannot ignore this subject anymore. And that is why we went into, Times of India went into this whole initiative of the circular economy and creating more and more awareness about it. Instead of me now, I think many of you are experts in this field. It's very happy to have you here. And instead of me preaching to the converted, I would like KTR Garu to come and talk to us. One word about KTR Garu is that as journalists, we often talk to politicians. They tell us a lot of interesting things, but most of the interesting things are off record. With KTR Garu, many of the interesting things are on record, so it is always a pleasure to listen to him. I hope he does some plain speak here as well. Thank you.
He's done your job. Thank you, Robin. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you to the entire team of Times of India for having us here on this very, very important topic. But before I begin, I'd like to start with a video that I want to play for you. This is the video where Hyderabad was recently recognized as the world's green city in Seoul. Just wanted to play that video for you and then we take it from there.
Hyderabad, a city with an iconic heritage. Besides advancing in technology, innovation and infrastructure, Hyderabad is also transforming into the world's #1 eco-friendly city, meeting the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Hyderabad was awarded Tree City of the World twice for the years 2020 and 2021 by FAO and Arbor Day Foundation. Now, Hyderabad, the capital city of Telangana, wins another laurel. Hyderabad beats Paris, Montreal, Mexico City, Buenos Aires, Melbourne, while competing with 57 entries from over 40 cities across 24 countries, and won the World Green City Award 2022 and Living Green for Economic Recovery and Inclusive Growth Award by the International Association of Horticulture Producers. AIPH celebrates this fantastic achievement. For the city of Hyderabad, we can confidently say that Hyderabad is a world leader in nature-oriented approaches to city design, form and function, says Mr. Tim Briarcliffe, Secretary General, AIPH. The credit for this remarkable achievement goes to the champion of greenery, Honorable Chief Minister Shri K. Chandrasekhar Rao, and his government for the various green initiatives and environment-friendly policies, particularly Telangana Ku Haritha Haram, the brainchild of the Honorable Chief Minister and the world's third largest human endeavor in afforestation. With progressive policies, thoughtful leadership and inspiring governance over the last 8 years, Telangana, the youngest state in India, is leading the country with its path-breaking initiatives. This award is a great honor and glory for the city, for the state and for the nation.
Thank you. Like I said, I'm very glad to be a part of this Replanet initiative of the Times of India, with very specific focus on water and the importance of circular economy. This topic assumes a lot of significance, and there's a lot of topical significance with reference to urban areas, and me being the Urban Development Minister, I also wanted to share with you a few things that we have attempted, and a few things where we have succeeded, and also areas where we are still working on in terms of ensuring that our cities, which have turned into heat islands and have become single biggest contributor to carbon emissions, have to be tackled. And this is something that I say not just as a Minister for Urban Development, but also as a very concerned citizen and as a concerned father who's worried about the future generations as well. As we all understand, as we all know, cities across the world, not just in India, have become the economic engines, propelling our growth stories across the universe, across the planet. Now, if you just look at India, or if you look at Telangana for that matter, more than 45% of Telangana's GSDP actually comes from Hyderabad and the suburban areas of Hyderabad. Same is the logic for every single nation across the world. In fact, a few years ago, I've mentioned this before, but I'll say it again. A few years ago, I had a meeting with Satya Nadella, who's the chairman of Microsoft, CEO and chairman of Microsoft. So when I was sharing with him that Telangana is a very urban state and a large chunk of our revenue actually comes from urban pockets, Satya shared something very insightful and interesting. He said, even though Microsoft actually exists in nearly 180 countries in terms of presence, 70% of Microsoft's revenue also comes from 80 cities across the world. So cities have become magnets for investment. Cities have become magnets for migration, urbanization, primarily because, people migrate to cities in search of better livelihood opportunities, better education facilities, better healthcare facilities. In general, better living standards is what they come in anticipation of. As a result, what we are witnessing today is, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, Honorable Minister, Union Minister, keeps referring to this, and let me paraphrase him a bit. Mr. Gadkari keeps telling us whenever we meet him that whatever urbanization has happened over the last 5,000 years is likely to happen over the next 50 years. The same quantum of urbanization that has happened in the last 5,000 years will be happening again, will be repeating itself over the course of next 50 years. So that kind of points you to the enormity of the challenge at hand for all of us. The importance of urban areas, of course, cannot be overruled. It can be gauged from the fact that while urban areas in terms of geographical expanse constitute for 5%, but they contribute to 46% of the population in Telangana and to about 2/3 of the GSDP of the state. To put it in numbers, let me put it this way. If you look at Telangana as a state, Our geographical area that the state currently, kind of covers or extends to is about 1,12,000 square kilometers, out of which Hyderabad alone is 675 square kilometers. But if you look at other urban pockets also, in the entire state of Telangana, it would not be more than 2,000 square kilometers. So what are we talking about here? 1,12,000 square kilometers versus 2,000 square kilometers. But if you look at the population, 46.8% of the population is in this 2,000 square kilometers, whereas the remaining population is in the rest of 1,10,000 square kilometers. So that kind of goes to show you why the urban infrastructure keeps crumbling. Because, the density of population, the paucity of space, that presents a huge challenge to the entire urban development department that I head. As I just pointed out, the socio-economic outlook of Telangana 2022 actually shows that Telangana's urban population is 46.8 compared to the national average of 31.16. That makes us one of the most urbanized states in the country. I think we are the third most urban state after Tamil Nadu, which is at 48.45, and Kerala at 47.23, and right after us is Maharashtra at 45.23. So that makes Telangana one of the most urbanized states in the entire country. And we are also one of the fastest growing urban economies in the country. When the state of Telangana was formed in 2014, we had 68 ULBs, the urban local bodies. But now the number has been increased to 142. That includes Hyderabad as well. Hyderabad, while we have still many challenges and many issues to tackle, I'm happy to share with you that over the last 5 years, and more particularly from the period 2015 until 2020, Hyderabad has been rated consistently by Mercer as the best city in India on the quality of living index. And I'm very, very proud of the fact that this has come even despite all the challenges after the new state was formed, the transition, etc., etc. But our goal is not just to be the best in India. Our ambition is larger. We are audacious in terms of vision, because our Honorable Chief Minister will not rest on laurels. He's not somebody who's content being known as the best in India. He's given us a task. He's asked us to be one among the best cities, best top 25 cities in the world in terms of livability index. And that's a humongous task, because if you look at the global rankings, while Hyderabad is number 1 in India in terms of livability, on the world index we are still 140. So that gives us another huge task in terms of moving up that ladder, because it's a huge task. So what are we doing? What are we trying to do to ensure that we live up to that vision? What are we trying to do to ensure that Hyderabad actually becomes a sustainable city in terms of all the methods, practices that we follow? One of the things I will talk about today, which I'm very proud of, our Metro Water Supply and Sewerage Board's MD is here, Dana Kishore. Let me also tell you something that I'm truly proud of. Hyderabad will become the first city in India come March, April next year, which would be treating every single drop of sewerage. We have undertaken a humongous task, are setting up nearly 31 sewerage treatment plants with a capacity of 1,259 MLD of sewerage waste, costing us about 3,866 crore. And once completed at a secondary level, this treatment would be of secondary level and backed by legislation. This will make Hyderabad, among all Indian cities, the first city to have achieved 100% treatment of sewerage, which I'm very, very proud of. And I do believe this will set a new benchmark for the rest of India. Now, how do we plan to reuse this water, treated water? We plan to reuse in construction, because construction is happening very, very aggressively across the city and also neighboring areas. We plan to mandate utilization of treated water by all the builders and construction companies. And we also will be using it for landscaping activities and horticulture activities. We could potentially also, in fact, use this water, treated water, to cool the furnaces and thermal plants and to do a number of other things as well. The second important intervention that I would like to talk about is effective management of surplus runoff water, especially during floods in Hyderabad. A lot of people complain, a lot of people talk about how cities in India, cities across the world are not equipped, fully to handle flood-like situations. Robin talked about climate change. Climate change, global warming was a topic that we used to read about in newspapers. Look at it, glance at it for a minute, and then used to say, okay, this is not my concern. This possibly is happening elsewhere in the world, not in my backyard. That was the approach earlier. But now, we all know climate change is real. It's already knocking on your doors. It's already at your doorstep. It's affecting all of us. As a person who's involved in public life, as a policy maker, I've been witnessing some very disturbing changes across different seasons. We are now accustomed to unseasonal rains in October. And we are also accustomed to, unfortunately, late arrival of monsoons. We are also accustomed to cloudbursts. And we are accustomed to 45, 46 degrees temperatures in summer. Now, these are unusual patterns. These are exceptional patterns. But looks like exception is going to become the norm. Expecting the unexpected is going to be the challenge for governments. I cannot take cover, I cannot take an excuse to my citizens stating that cloudburst and unseasonal rain, unprecedented rain has resulted in a flood-like situation, which may be the reality. But I don't think the citizens are going to accept that sort of an explanation in future anymore. So therefore, in Hyderabad, we have started on an important task, because no city in the world can of course deal with cloudbursts or torrential rains, but the least we can do is to prepare as well as we can, equip ourselves as well as we can. And so therefore, we have undertaken a very detailed study. A company called Shah Consultants based in Pune has undertaken this study. The hydrological map of Telangana, hydrological map of Hyderabad has been prepared. We have mapped surface runoff flows, micro basins of drainages, blockade points, and what needs to be done to address the issue on a permanent basis. Out of this, we have actually formulated a new idea called a Strategic Nala Development Program, SNDP. Happy to share with you that this Nala development, which has started with about 1,000 crores of initial estimates, has been going well. Of course, there's a long, long way to go, but I do believe that we have made some few decisions, and few important projects have been kicked off in the right direction. The third thing I'd like to talk about is solid waste management. When this government came into office in 2014, the total waste collection, municipal solid waste collection in the city of Hyderabad was about 3,500 metric tons per day. But today, that has increased to 6,000 metric tons per day. And what we have done in the last 8 years is, we have come out with a policy on ensuring not just municipal solid waste, but all kinds of waste, construction and demolition waste, liquid waste, which is sewerage, also biological waste, and e-waste. All of these forms of waste are being processed diligently, are being processed scientifically to ensure Hyderabad becomes a benchmark and Hyderabad becomes a leading example of how a city can function. Now let me elaborate a bit on municipal solid waste. We have in fact commissioned a 20 megawatt plant, South India's largest municipal waste to energy plant in Jawahar Nagar Corporation, which is very close to Hyderabad. Not only have we commissioned a 20 megawatt waste to energy plant, we are also building another 28 megawatts of capacity at this plant, which will consume all the dry waste. All the wet waste will be converted into compost, and it will be sold to farmers as fertilizer. The wet waste, the dry waste will be converted into power. Beyond this 48 megawatts of municipal waste to energy, we are also contemplating setting up another 20 megawatt plant. Altogether, this will take our capacities to nearly 68, I think 72, I believe, altogether. And this will ensure that 100% of all the dry waste in Hyderabad is converted or incinerated into energy. The other thing I'm very proud of also, Telangana in its municipalities, 142 municipalities, will be completing a very unique program called as the FSTP, the fecal sludge treatment plants. Human waste that's excreted is also now being processed, is also now being handled in a scientific fashion, and we are ensuring that on a modular basis, all municipalities by the end of next fiscal will be having a fecal sludge treatment plant. We've already completed this in 68 municipalities. We're also trying to cover the remaining by the end of this fiscal. Let me also quickly talk about some heritage restoration that we are very, very proud of, in Hyderabad. Recently as yesterday, I think it was, you may have seen a clipping in Times of India as well. In fact, I thank the entire team of Times of India for running a brilliant piece on heritage conservation and what needs to be done by the state, by the people, by the citizens, etc. I'm very proud that two of very important monuments, the step wells in Kuli Qutub Shah tombs have been recognized by UNESCO, and so has the Domakonda Fort in Kamareddy district. Both of these have been recognized by UNESCO as World Heritage Monuments, but our ambition is larger. We want Hyderabad to be recognized as a World Heritage City, and we are working diligently towards it. Let me talk a bit about restoration of heritage structures that we have done as have been involved in as a government. One of the things I'm very proud about is the restoration of Mozum Zahi Market, which has once again regained its lost glory. Because I remember as a kid, as a student, I used to frequent the Mozum Zahi Market. It is famous for its market, and also I don't know how many of you have had famous ice cream there. It is truly famous. You should try it if you haven't. Likewise, the clock tower at Mehboob Chowk, Sultan Bazaar, the CSI Church, Ram Gopal Pet Police Station at Monda Market, and Shah Ali Banda. All of these are being restored. We've also done Kaman restoration at Maula Ali Kaman, Char Kaman at Charminar, and Bansilal Pet Kaman at Secunderabad. I'm also happy to announce that restoration of step wells. I'm happy Kalpana Ramesh is here. She's been doing some pioneering work in restoration of step wells. Bapu Ghat, where she was also involved, her team was involved. Bansilal Pet, my compliments to you, Kalpana, and the entire team of municipal administration and others who have worked together. Gachi Bauli, Victoria Memorial School, Goshala, 6 step wells which have been restored by the Aga Khan Foundation at Kuli Qutub Shahi tombs, and 2 step wells at Narayanpet and 1 at Chautupal. The initiative, which started at a small scale with the cooperation of Rainwater NGO, is now fast becoming a public movement, and a lot of people are taking pride in the restoration that has been done. In addition, we've also taken up some restoration works at Ashur Khana, Hussaini Alam, Darbar Hall, Koti Women's College, and restoration of Kuli Qutub Shahi tombs. Our upcoming restoration works also include reconstruction of Mehboob Chowk, popularly known as the Murgi Khana or Murgi Chowk, Sardar Mahal, Julu Kaman, Lad Bazar, Mir Alam Mandi, State Central Library, Sheikpet Sarai, and Khurshid Zahi Devdi. These are some of the few. In fact, Hyderabad has about 218 heritage structures, both private and public. Our ambition, our goal, is to ensure that each of these structures is diligently restored and maintained for the benefit of our future generations. We're very confident. I mean, I can go on with a number of such initiatives, but we are very, very confident that with all these initiatives, by way of creating a circular economy, by focusing on sustainability, by ensuring that we also conserve our heritage structures, we will qualify to be among the list of UNESCO cities for World Heritage, as a World Heritage City. We've already been recognized by UNESCO in their list of cities for gastronomy. As you all know, Hyderabad's biryani is truly, truly world famous. So we have been recognized by UNESCO among the list of gastronomical cities popular for gastronomy. And again, like I mentioned, because of the work done by Aga Khan Foundation at the stepwells in Kuli Qutub Shahi tombs, we've again been recognized by them. But our effort is to ensure that this continuous exercise, endeavor, to maintain that perfect mix of modernity and old world charm, rich heritage and culture, the Ganga Jamuna Tehzeeb that Hyderabad is known for, will prosper, will thrive, and every Hyderabadi eventually will feel proud of all the work that is being done by the government and its citizens. I'd like to play a small video before I close out so that you understand exactly what is being done. Thank you. Jai Telangana.
Yes. Thank you so much, our Honorable Minister, for sharing valuable insights and inputs with all of us here today and always inspiring us. And then again, we look forward to seeing Telangana as one among the top 25 cities in the world. I now request Mr. Robin David to kindly please present the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, KTR Garu, for sharing your perspective. I think there were three takeaways for me from this entire exercise. One is that you want to make Hyderabad a climate resilient city. Secondly, you want Hyderabad to be one of the most livable cities in the world. And thirdly, you want it to become a World Heritage City. All three, Times of India would be very happy to work with you on. We've already done a sustained campaign on heritage. We will also work with you on the other two initiatives, even if we are occasionally critical of what we say. Thank you.